Okay, so gratitude journaling, right? Seems like everyone's talking about it these days. What's the big deal? Well, we're going to find out. We've got a whole stack of research here, some articles, even some stuff from Stallion.
Listallion, yeah, their journals are beautiful, aren't they?
They really are. I actually have one right here, 211 pages, nice thick paper, a faux leather cover.
Oh, yeah, that 120 GSM paper. You can really use any pen with it. No bleed through.
Exactly. And it's got all these little details that just make it feel special, like numbered pages and a table of contents. You don't see that in just any old notebook. I even use that little back pocket they have for like little things that just spark happy memories.
I can see why people get attached to them. They're more than just a tool. They become part of the experience.
That's exactly it. And, it's funny. My sister was going through a really rough time a while back. Job stress, family stuff, the whole works. So I got her a Stallion journal thinking, maybe it would help. And she told me later that just the act of holding it, feeling the letter, the weight of the paper, it gave her this sense of calm before she even started writing.
Interesting. There's something about that tactile experience, isn't there? It's like a ritual, a signal to your brain that it's time to shift gears.
Yeah, like priming yourself for gratitude even before you start writing. But I've got to ask, why is gratitude so powerful in the first place? I mean, we all know the saying, count your blessings, but how does that actually work? What's the science behind it?
Right, well, it's not just some feel-good saying. There's actual research showing that gratitude can rewire our brains, seriously. It's about shifting focus, moving away from what we lack and towards what we have, the positive stuff.
So you're saying just by writing down things I'm grateful for, I can actually change my brain.
You got it. Every time you experience gratitude, you're strengthening those neural pathways connected to positive emotions. Joy, contentment, love, all that good stuff. And just like working a muscle, the more you use them, the stronger they get.
Okay, I can see that. But part of me is still a bit skeptical. Is it really that simple? Just write it down and bam, I'm a happier person.
Well, it's not magic, of course. It takes effort, consistent effort, like anything worthwhile. And that's where a well-designed journal can really help, like those Listallion ones. They've got features like the table of contents. A friend of mine, John, he was telling me how he used that to track his own gratitude journey. He had this high-stress job, always left him feeling drained. He started using the journal, at first just listing basic things, my health, my family, not really feeling it.
So it wasn't sparking that deep gratitude at first.
Right. No, not really. But he kept at it. And then weeks later, he had this awful day at work, boss yelling, project falling apart, the whole 9 yards. Feeling totally defeated, he just randomly opened his Listallion journal, flipped to a past entry using that table of contents. He landed on a simple moment with his son, laughing while building Legos. And reading that, it just shifted his whole perspective. Remembered the joy, the love, put that work stress in a different light.
Wow. So the journal became like a tool to reframe his experience, to help him access those positive emotions even when things are rough, like a gratitude toolkit almost.
Exactly. And Listallion seems to get that. Those numbered pages, the table of contents, it all helps you revisit specific entries like John did, reinforces those positive patterns, reminds you of your own resilience.
I could see how that would be powerful, remembering those moments, especially when we're struggling. I remember when I first got into using a Stallion journal myself. I have to admit, I was a bit overwhelmed at first. All the different ways to journal, guided prompts, free writing, where to even start.
So many options, right? It's like, oh, where do I even begin?
Totally. But that's one thing I really appreciated about Listallion. They kind of address this in their guide. Talk about how different journaling styles work for different people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it makes sense. Not everyone approaches gratitude the same way, right? Some people need more structure. Some need that freedom to just, well, free write.
Exactly. I'm definitely more of a free-flowing type. So at first, I was drawn to the blank pages in the Listallion journal. But then I noticed these faint dotted lines on each page.
Oh, interesting. What did you think about those?
I don't know. I kind of started using them as a guide, like almost making little columns for different categories of gratitude. One for personal stuff, one for work things, one for just like random moments of beauty or, little things that made me smile.
That's creative, using those lines to add structure, but without being too rigid about it.
Yeah, and I think that's a big part of the Listallion approach. It's flexible. You can adapt it to your own style.
Yeah.
And that makes it, well, more enjoyable.
Enjoyment is key, right? If it feels like a chore, who's going to stick with it? It's like exercise. Find something you actually like doing, and you're way more likely to keep it up.
Great analogy. It's
Yeah.
got to be that balance between structure and freedom. discipline, and, well, delight.
Yeah.
And speaking of delight, one thing I love about Lestallion is their focus on storytelling. They have these prompts that encourage you to go beyond just listing things and really get into the why, like the stories behind those experiences.
Oh, I see what you mean. Because a story, it just brings things to life, doesn't it? Makes it more vivid, memorable. And that's a big part of gratitude, right? Not just acknowledging the good stuff, but really savoring it, letting those emotions sink in.
Exactly. It's like what's the saying, the difference between reading a list of ingredients and actually tasting the meal.
Perfect analogy. Lestallion gets it. They've got prompts that have you remembering specific memories, describing all those sensory details, even imagining future scenarios that you're grateful for.
I can just picture their design team, right? Features tell, but stories sell. And it's true. We're wired for stories. Our brains remember narratives so much better than just facts.
Absolutely. And when we weave gratitude into those stories, it's like creating this tapestry of positivity, something you can come back to, draw strength from again and again.
Powerful stuff, like building a whole library of gratitude, right? All these stories reminding us of our strength, our capacity for joy, all the good things that surround us.
Beautifully put. Speaking of good things, I'm curious about those hidden joys you mentioned earlier. How does Lestallion guide people to discover those?
Oh, this is one of my favorite things about their approach. They've got prompts that really get you looking for the good in, well, unexpected places, those little sparks of joy we might otherwise miss.
Right, because so often it's those small everyday moments that add up to big happiness, isn't it? But we're so busy, so focused on the big goals, we miss those little gems along the way.
Exactly. Like my friend Sarah, she was telling me how she used one of the Lestallion prompts to find a hidden joy in her daily commute.
Her commute. Now that's intriguing. Not usually a place we associate with joy.
I know, right? She dreaded it. Packed train, delays, the whole works. But the prompt, it asked her to find something positive about a routine activity. So she started paying attention. And you know what? She realized that while the train ride itself was a drag, she loved the walk to the station. It was her time to decompress, listen to music, notice the trees changing colors, all that.
It's amazing what a little shift in focus can do, isn't it? Reframing that whole experience.
Totally. She told me discovering that little pocket of joy made a huge difference to her whole day. Like, it gave her something to look forward to, even on the most, well, mundane days.
It's a perfect example of how Lestallion's approach encourages mindfulness, appreciation for everyday experiences.
And that mindfulness can be so powerful, right? Slowing down, paying attention, savoring those little things we often take for granted.
Exactly. Joy and gratitude, they can be found anywhere, really, even in a crazy commute or a stressful workday.
It's all about choosing to see the good, even when it's hidden in plain sight. I remember a time I was feeling super overwhelmed. Work deadlines, family stuff, everything felt like one giant to-do list. I was losing sight of what really mattered.
That feeling of overwhelm, it's so common these days. Easy to get caught up in the busyness and lose our way.
Totally. But I had just started using a Lestallion journal, and I thought I'd try one of their prompts. It was about finding gratitude in, well, unexpected challenges.
Oh, that's an interesting one. Challenges and gratitude, they don't usually go hand in hand.
I know, right? It felt a bit strange at first. But I sat down with my journal and really thought about the challenges I was facing. And, as I was writing, it hit me. Even though these things were stressful, they were also pushing me to grow, to learn new skills, to be more creative, more resourceful.
That's a powerful way to look at it, reframing those challenges as opportunities.
Exactly. And that shift, it made such a difference. It didn't make the challenges disappear, of course, but it gave me a sense of, I don't know, control, empowerment, like I could handle it.
Like gratitude was giving you strength, helping you face those challenges with more confidence.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most important things about gratitude. It helps us build resilience, gives us a more resourceful mindset, helps us navigate the ups and downs of life.
Beautifully put. And speaking of resilience, I'm curious to hear how Lestallion incorporates that long-term gratitude practice into their journals. It's one thing to feel grateful for a few minutes, but how do we make it last?
That's a great question. And honestly, I think Lestallion has thought about this a lot. I mean, for one thing, they build their journals to last. The paper, the binding, that leather cover, it's all meant to withstand, well, life. And 211 pages, that's a lot of space to document your gratitude journey. My current Lestallion, it's been with me through a lot. Moves, career changes, everything.
It's almost like a physical reminder of your commitment, isn't it? A testament to the journey you've been on.
It really is. And beyond that, the whole design encourages you to keep going. The numbered pages, the table of contents, it makes it so easy to look back, see how your perspective has changed over time.
I see what you mean, incorporating time into the whole experience. Because gratitude isn't just about the present moment, is it? It's about appreciating how far we've come, the challenges we've overcome.
Exactly. Like looking at a photo album of your gratitude journey,
Yeah.
all those snapshots of joy, resilience, growth, reminding us that even when things are tough, we've always got those positive memories to draw on.
Like building a reserve of gratitude, something you can tap into when you need it.
Exactly. Oh, and speaking of reserves, that little back pocket in the Listallian journals?
Yeah, what about it? Seems like a small detail, but I bet it means a lot to people.
It does. I use mine to keep little things that bring back good memories. A postcard from a friend, a concert ticket stub, a pressed flower from a special event. It's like a tiny treasure chest of gratitude.
I love that. It's like making those positive experiences tangible, bringing them to life.
Right. It's another way to make the journaling experience your own. Each Listallian journal, it becomes this unique reflection of the owner's journey.
A beautiful way to think about it. Each one a work of art, filled with gratitude, memories, personal meaning.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
That's what makes Listallian so special. It's more than just a journal. It's a space for self-discovery, a tool for transformation, a companion on that, lifelong journey of cultivating gratitude.
And that journey, as we've been discussing, it's incredibly rewarding. Opening ourselves up to the good around us, those moments of joy, building a mindset of appreciation, even when life gets tough.
So well said. And it all starts with paying attention, right?
Yeah.
Noticing the good things, both big and small.
Absolutely. Choosing to see the world through that lens of gratitude. And you know what? It can transform not just our own lives, but the lives of those around us too.
So true. Speaking of transforming lives, I'd love to hear about your own experience with gratitude. What's been the biggest takeaway for you?
That's a good question. It's made me realize how far I've come. For a long time, I was always striving for more, never quite feeling content. And it wasn't until I discovered gratitude that I really started experiencing a sense of peace, fulfillment, joy, all those things.
That's a beautiful story. It reminds us that we don't need to achieve something big to be happy. Joy and contentment, it's all right here, right now. We just have to appreciate the good we already have.
I agree. And it's not about settling for less. It's about recognizing that abundance comes from appreciating, not accumulating.
Shifting from a mindset of scarcity to one of abundance.
Exactly. And that shift can be so liberating. We can finally relax, enjoy the journey instead of constantly chasing after the next thing.
It's like taking a deep breath and saying, it's enough.
Yes. And one of the most unexpected things I've learned about gratitude is that it's not just about feeling good, it's about doing good too.
Oh, that's interesting. Tell me more.
Well, I've noticed the more I practice gratitude, the more I want to give back, to express my appreciation. Gratitude inspires generosity and kindness, I think.
It makes sense. When we feel thankful for what we have, we want to share that abundance, right?
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be anything big. It could be volunteering your time, donating to a cause, just offering a helping hand to someone who needs it.
It's about understanding that we're all connected. Our actions, big or small, they all make a difference.
It really is. And it makes me think, how can we actually make that happen? It's easy to talk about gratitude, but how do we make it, I don't know, a real part of our lives? In our communities, even.
Right. It's got to be more than just an idea, right?
Exactly. And I think the first step is realizing that gratitude, it's not just a feeling, it's a practice, something you have to, work at, a habit you build.
Like building a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets.
That's a great way to put it. And there are so many ways to, exercise that gratitude muscle. Keeping a journal is one, like we've been talking about. But it doesn't have to be that formal. Even just writing down a few things you're grateful for each morning, or texting a friend to tell them you appreciate them. Little things like that.
Finding those little moments in your day to stop and appreciate the good.
Yes. And another thing that's really powerful is expressing your gratitude directly to people.
Oh, yeah. Telling people how much they mean to you.
Yeah.
I love that. It makes such a difference.
It does. And it could be as simple as saying thank you to the person who makes your coffee, or writing a nice note to a coworker who helped you out, or calling your mom just to say hi and let her know you're thinking of her.
Putting gratitude into action.
Exactly. And you know what else is great for cultivating gratitude? Acts of service.
Oh, helping others. I hadn't thought about that, but it makes sense.
Right. When you do something for someone else, it just makes you feel good. And it doesn't have to be some big, huge thing. It could be helping a neighbor carry groceries or volunteering at a food bank, anything like that.
It's a reminder that we're all connected and that we can all make a difference.
And speaking of making a difference, have you ever thought about being grateful for challenges?
Grateful for challenges. That's a tough one.
I know, it seems kind of strange. When something tough happens, it's easy to focus on the negative. But if you can find a way to be grateful for those challenges, well, it can change your whole perspective. Even if you're just grateful for the lessons you learn or for how they make you stronger.
Seeing those obstacles as opportunities.
Yes, and that can be really powerful. You face those challenges with more courage, with a sense of purpose.
It's all about how you look at it, isn't it?
It really is. And of course, don't forget to be grateful for the simple things too, the little everyday things.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Oh, I don't know. The sunshine, a good meal, hearing people laugh, the beauty of nature, your comfy bed at night, things like that.
Those little moments of peace and happiness.
Exactly. Those are the things that make life so rich.
And when you appreciate those things, it makes you feel so grateful, doesn't it? Even when life gets crazy.
It really does. Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground today. Gratitude is such a fascinating topic.
It is. We've talked about the science behind it, how to make it a part of our lives, and what the world could look like if everyone embraced gratitude. It's been great.
I agree. It's been a pleasure talking about this with you.
Same here. And before we go, I want to leave our listeners with one last thought. Remember, gratitude is a choice. We can choose to focus on the good, to appreciate what we have, and to be thankful for all the blessings in our lives every single day.
And may that choice lead us all to happier, more meaningful lives, full of good things.
Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive, everyone. We'll see you next time. And until then, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those hearts full of gratitude.